Hey, it's Fat Albert. Minus the fat because I'm about my health shit. So welcome, bro. Welcome back to another installment of Edutainment. How you doing today? Hopefully you're doing more and saying less. I got another financial millionaire to be video that we're gonna be reacting to. It's called Why Dave Ramsey's 7 Baby Steps Work. So essentially, it's paying off debt. It's getting an emergency fund, paying off debt, investing, and we'll get to the rest of it in due time. But no long talk, we'll get right into it. Subscribe to the channel, it's free, it's all free. My channel, my goal is to make sure that you're entertained, that you're laughing, but most importantly, that you are learning something that you can apply to your own personal life and make it better. Hence the term edutainment. So no long talk, let's cut straight to it.
Welcome back to Whiteboard Finance. My name is Marco and I'm here to help you master your money and build your wealth. In this video, I'm going to explain to you why Dave Ramsey's baby steps work, and we're going to break down each of the 7 baby steps so you can better understand how to better your personal financial future. These are actually taken straight out of Dave Ramsey's book, Total Money Makeover, and the link will be down in the description below if you haven't read that book already. It is an absolute personal finance life changer and I highly recommend it. So let's start with baby step number 1, okay? So the first baby step is to save $1,000 for an emergency fund, okay? The reason Dave says to save $1,000 in an emergency fund is because life happens, okay? When you're going to start your financial journey, there's going to be a flat tire that, busts a tire. There's going to be a medical illness. There's going to be a little bill or an expense that you didn't expect would come up. So that's why Dave recommends that everyone starts with $1,000 to actually fund an emergency fund. And you need to do this as fast as possible, okay? So if you already have $1,000 laying around, boom, put that in a separate account. That's your $1,000 emergency fund.
So how do you get to that $1,000 emergency fund? Essentially, what you have to do is just take inventory of your bank account and all the expenses that are currently coming out of it. Like Netflix, may need to cut it off for a bit. And also all the services that you use at home, your phone bill, car insurance, or any other like Wi-Fi, beat them down on their pricing. Like, yo, I'm thinking about going to a different competitor. Is there a way you can lower the cost of the service or something to that effect? Or is there a way that you can personally yourself, maybe instead of having the 45 data plan, maybe just get a plan with no data or less data so that you're saving an extra $10 that it can be used towards that emergency fund. And arguably, one of the best things besides cutting expenses that you can do is to always pay yourself first. Any deposit, any income that you get, just get into the habit of putting 20% or more or less if you're tight towards your savings account. So you get $1,000 bi-weekly, put $200 into your savings account, or you can also, I think, if you talk to your employer, you can automatically put a certain amount towards your savings without you having to think about it. So get into the habit of paying yourself first and strip your expenses to its bare minimum so you can, fill that emergency fund as quickly as possible.
Step number 2 is pay off all debt other than your mortgage, okay? So this counts as everything. This is credit cards. This is, your Uncle Joe that you owe $1,000 to. This is the bank that you took out for a car loan. This is pretty much everything. And if you're coming from my debt snowball versus debt avalanche video, Dave recommends using the debt snowball. And if you haven't watched that video, I explain why the debt snowball psychologically works better than the debt avalanche. So I highly recommend that you guys take this seriously because this is actually the first step to your financial future, in my opinion. So baby step 3 is
the best way to pay off all debt is to take inventory of all the debt you currently have. Like literally write down, I owe this amount on my credit card, I owe this amount on my student loans, I owe this amount on my car note, and have a physical representation, a physical copy that you see visually that you know of, not an estimate, not a guesstimate, like a physical, like these are the numbers that I owe that I need to work towards paying off. So that's something that a lot of people don't do. Just like, oh, I have payments coming in here and there, I need to just pay it. But you don't know like the exact 100,000, 50,000, 20,000 that I owe that I need to focus my energy towards now that I've built my emergency fund.
Pay into an emergency fund. It's 3 to 6 months of living expenses, okay? So this is typically, and when I say pay into, the reason I say it that way is because Dave wants you to have an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of living expenses. So if you know that you and your family or yourself or you and your partner, whatever, if you know that your monthly expenses are $2,000, you know that you need to save up $6,000 to $12,000. Heaven forbid one of you becomes ill or you lose your job or you have a medical issue and you don't have that income coming in. This allows you to live 3 to 6 months carefree while you're actually trying to establish yourself with a new income or get better if you have an illness, whatever the case may be. So paying into an emergency fund, to get back to that phrasing, this is my personal opinion, you need to pay into an account that is very liquid. So this should be a savings or a checking account, a money market account, somewhere where you can easily access that cash quickly in times of an emergency.
Okay. This is extremely beneficial if you also maybe, instead of getting fired, but you also want to quit and pursue your entrepreneurial ventures and lifestyle. This will give you some buffer room to, you know, actually work on your side hustle and make that shit pop. And also, if you are thinking about quitting your job, I highly recommend you watch the video up here in the cards, because there are some things that you may not know about that could actually come and backfire at you if you quit too early. So that's something to think about.
Okay. So step number 4 is actually where I'm at and where I've been at for a while now, because I don't have any children, and you'll see why in the next step. But this is essentially where you want to invest 15% of your household income into some sort of pre-tax or tax-advantaged account. So what I've been doing since 21 years old pretty much is maxing out my Roth IRA, and I also contribute up to my employer's match in my 401k, okay? So I'm still employed, I still work, you know, W-2, 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday, but I've also taken all of my after-tax dollars and maxed out my Roth IRA. For the longest time, it was $5,500. In 2019, it's now $6,000, and with 401k, your maximum contribution can be $19,000 for 2019. So there are some income limits when it comes to a Roth IRA, but that'll be a subject for another video. So the reason I said I'm stuck on number 5, involuntarily stuck on number 5, knock on wood, this will change soon here with my wife and I, but step 5 is actually college funding for your kids, okay? And if you don't plan on having kids, why not fund, you know, your nieces or nephews or whoever's college? This could actually be used to change someone's life. So if you don't plan on having children of your own, you can definitely still plan for step number 5. So typically the college fund is actually, it could be something that's tax advantage, like a 529 plan. There's multiple, you know, educational funds out there that could get you some financial advantages. But what I stick to is a 529. And again, I do not have one, but I will in the future once, knock on wood, the birth of my child actually happens here.
When it comes to like college and shit, honestly, prestige doesn't mean shit. Just go to an in-state college, go from home if need be, and you will love yourself down the line. The amount of debt that you will save, and the amount of, like, just in general, like, money that you have liquid to save as you are going through your university college experience will be so beneficial. Even if you don't want to live at home, don't go to an out-of-state college, or definitely take into account like the cost of tuition compared to from school to school. But prestige, it doesn't mean that much. I promise you that. It's more about your networking skills and your ability to converse and social skills with people around you.
So very quickly, step number 6, pay off your home early, okay? So I know a lot of people that follow my work, they would say to themselves, well, hey, you know, my home right now, the mortgage is a very low rate. I can get, you know, better investments and better returns out in the market, or with ETFs, index funds, commercial real estate investing, private lending, whatever. However you make your money is fine. And if mathematically it does make sense to not pay your home off early, if you are indeed earning a higher return on your investments than what the rate of your mortgage actually is. However, from a peace of mind standpoint, you guys, I'm definitely on board with Dave on this one. You know, I don't agree with Dave necessarily on a lot of his investing tactics, just because he says, you know, buy real estate with cash and, you know, all that stuff. There's good leverage and bad leverage out there. But in my opinion, when it comes to paying off your primary residence where you're actually living and raising a family, this gives you an enormous peace of mind that a rate of return simply cannot compete with, in my opinion. And then number 7, this is my favorite baby step, is giving, okay? So this is when your wealth has already increased to a level of self-sustenance. So this is where you build wealth and then you give it all away. So when I say give it all away, this really empowers you to be a better member of the world or society or civilization, whatever word you want to use. But this is where you can give to charity. You can fund someone's college. You can give back to your religious organization if you have one. You can give to your park system. I joke around with my wife all the time. Here in Northeast Ohio, we have an enormous, I'd say it's world-class park system that's well taken care of, called the Metro Parks. It spans all throughout Northeast Ohio down to Southern Ohio. And ultimately, I want to be able to give to the Metro Parks to where we even have like a chair or like a bench dedicated to us in our name. I know that sounds super corny, but I use the Metro Parks so much and all the time that it's something that would mean a lot to me. So that's just one small example. You can obviously have your own. So a quick recap is...
So giving, just in general, maybe you have friends or family that maybe ask for money. Get into the habit of giving without the expectation of getting back in return. What I mean by that is, whenever they ask, don't think of it as that they're borrowing. Just think of it as you're giving. If you do it this way, the relationship you have with your friends and family will not get toxic. There's nothing worse than having someone owe you money and they don't give you the money back. And especially if you compromise yourself to help them out. So let's say, for example, they ask for $50 to borrow. Either give them the $50 and don't expect to get it back, or give them a lesser amount and still don't expect them to give it to you back. Either give them 50 or give them 10 or give them 30, and have the peace of mind that you're helping them out of your own pocket without expecting to get it back. And if it would hurt you to not get the money back or even the lesser amount, don't give it to them at all. Because if they don't give it to you back on time or in a timely manner, that relationship will be strained without a fact. All facts, no cap. Just give or don't give, and don't think of it as a loan or that they're borrowing. Just give.
Bucks in an emergency fund. Number 2 is paying off all your consumer debt or all debt in general except your mortgage. Step 3 is paying into an emergency fund, so when life happens, you do have a 3 to 6 month cushion of not having to worry about money. Step number 4 is investing 15% of your household income. Step 5 is saving up for college, whether it's your kids or someone else's. Step 6 is paying off your home early, and step 7 is then building wealth and giving. So the whole crux or the whole point of this video is, why does this work? Why do Dave Ramsey's baby steps work? Well, it's in the name. They're baby steps, okay? If you remember my analogy of, paying off your debt using the debt snowball, the debt snowball is just listing your smallest debts to your largest debts, and you're building confidence. It's almost like a workout plan, okay? So instead of trying to pay off your house and go straight to baby step 6, okay, that's not possible until you do all these before then.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. You can do any of these in order, but there's a reason why this works when you do them in order. So think about it. If you have a $1,000 emergency fund and you get a flat tire, oh, there goes $250. That's okay. You just saved $250. You build that emergency fund up back to $1,000. And now this is when you can really get to the races by paying off all your consumer debt. The borrower really is slave to the lender. And when you don't owe anybody anything, it not only clears your mind and your conscience, it allows you to actually create a plan moving forward. So when you finally do knock this out, this actually becomes easy because you have no debt. You can then take all the money that you're putting towards your debt and actually build up a nest egg or an emergency fund. At that point, you can then start to focus on investing your money into retirement, so you don't have to worry about retirement later on in life. You don't have to be eating dog food. If you do, I prefer Alpo. Number 5, the college fund. Think about changing someone's life, whether it's your own child's and building your family tree. I know my parents, they're immigrants. They're Eastern European immigrants. My dad never went to college. He's one of the smartest men I know, but at the end of the day, he just wasn't given that opportunity. So this is how you expand and better your family tree. And then number 6, paying off that home early, which allows you to then be mortgage-free and debt-free, and that's when you just start building enormous wealth. So this one was a little bit long-winded, and I appreciate it if you stuck with me until this point. But if you haven't already, please get the link or get the book.
But yeah, so that's pretty much the. Hold on, let me get into the lighting. There you go. I can't do without the light. That's pretty much the crux of the whole goal or the path to financial freedom that you can aspire to get to and you can work towards. The starter pack essentially is to start with all the expenses you currently have, crush that to the bare minimum, use your income to fund your emergency fund, and to accelerate the process, once you've already taken care of your expenses, you get a side hustle. Make YouTube videos. Make this a business. This is a business for me, right? Become a waiter, wait staff, whatever it is you can do on the side. Rent your house out for Airbnb. Maybe you have a basement available, a room available, stuff like that. Once you've cut down your expenses, then you can start to look into other sources of income that you can use to accelerate this whole 7 baby steps a lot quicker. But hopefully that gave you some insight. God bless, much love, peace, and joy. If you do want to quit your job, definitely check out the cards up here on things that you need to know ahead of time. As always, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. And too much of any good thing is good for nothing. How you doing today? I'm doing more, I'm saying less. Alright fam, deuces.
Brand new day, oh my day.
Sweet one looking like a Kardashian. So bad, it don't matter what card that she in. Give her seasoned wood, now she back again. It shows she's never really been with an African.